Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at what if the new world recolonizes the old world. And just for starters, the old world is completely gone. But down here, over here, we're going to have it where Papua New Guinea is still a thing, East Timor's a thing, Australia's a thing, and all those other countries. But Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines are not a thing. So those guys, Brunei, all that, they're not a thing. So this is like uninhabited land. But we are going to go ahead and we're going to give major players, we're going to give them their own colors. Specifically, the United States is going to get one, and they're going to be red. We're going to have, let's not put Canada as one. We're going to definitely have Brazil as one, though. Brazil can be blue. We can give Argentina, we'll do purple for Argentina. We'll do Australia as yellow. And then we can do Papua New Guinea as orange. And Bougainville. Meanwhile, if we look back up here, let's give Mexico green. And then finally, we can go back up here to Canada. And we can give them this purple. So now, without further ado, let's get into today's video. And this is probably the 5th upload I am thinking of in daily upload week. So please show your support if you want me to do this again. But we're gonna start off with Canada, and they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna be the first to realize, after they realize the old world is gone, they're going to be jumping in and they're going to be claiming some of this northern part of Greenland. But directly after this, the United States is going to come and they're going to start making their own claim. And they're going to be colonizing, of course. And eventually an agreement is made to where Canada can have this much control. But they also get the northern part of the island so that they can maybe like send some stuff over to here. And the United States also claims Iceland. Anyway, now it's time to look at the next colonizer, being Mexico. Mexico is just going to send a voyage out, and they're going to go and they're going to set up a colony along the African coast. And it's going to actually get pretty big, and they're going to claim some of these islands. And that's probably enough for them for now. We need to look at Brazil, who is going to make 2 different colonial claims. One of them being right here in the Nigerian area. Another one is going to be up here in the controlling Gibraltar. And this makes them a very important player But of course, the United States is the first in the world. So they are going to go ahead and they decide to take the northern part of Iberia. And they claim this part, and Brazil just meets them up there. And of course, this wouldn't be colonizing without straight lines. So we're going to change the borders to that. Then the USA is going to start claiming some of France. And then they claim the British Isles, which is a very important part that they claim. Now, we look back at Canada, who has taken Svalbard, if I'm saying that right, and they've made a claim in Scandinavia. And it looks something like this. It's a very big claim. Meanwhile, we have Brazil expanding their claim even further. And Mexico is going to go ahead and expand their claim just a little bit. Next, we see Argentina jumping in. Now, they mostly just have a big one. Right down here, they have a giant one. It's pretty big. And it's probably about this size. But then they also have decided that they're going to claim one right up here. Eventually, though, someone is going to buy this from them. And that color is actually going to be, I'm sorry, using darker colors. It's going to be a dark red color. And this is going to be Venezuela. And Venezuela has claimed this little piece of land. That's probably all their colonizing is going to do. But at least they got some land. Meanwhile, down here, Argentina has made a claim over Madagascar in the southern half. Now we're going to take a look up at these guys. Australia is going to take over this island that East Timor lives on. And they're going to say, get out of here. You're not welcome anymore. So they just take over all the island. Then they start making claims on the southern islands, including Java and the southern part of this island. Meanwhile, Papua New Guinea has taken over all of Papua, if I'm saying that right. Please correct me in the comments if you want to. And they go ahead and take some more islands up here. They even make a claim onto the Philippines, and they actually take it all over, as well as the northern part of Borneo. And then, of course, add a straight line, a little bit of a straight line. Then, Australia claims the rest, as well as Malaysia, and I forget what this place is called. The little strait, the Strait of Malacca, yes, they capture that. So that all this area has been taken for now. And now we've really seen everybody make a claim. Now it's time to look back up on some of these claims. Because right now, Canada is making a very big claim over Scandinavia. They've taken over all the Baltic Sea. And they're starting to go up into Russia, claiming some of these northern islands. They seem to love doing that. Meanwhile, the USA has decided to go down into Italy and take some of that area. And as well as some of France. But we go ahead and see Brazil taking the rest of Italy. And making a claim down in Africa. And they then take some of Greece and Crete. Mexico is going to keep expanding their claim because this is the only claim they have. So, they decide that they want another one. So, they go through the Mediterranean and they land right here and they take all of this area over. So basically they take over Egypt. But they mostly take over some of the Middle East, and this kind of angers the USA because they don't want another thing happening with like Israel and all that. They don't want like another Palestine to be formed or whatever. But they can't really do anything as the Istanbul is, or the area around Istanbul is taken over by the by Brazil, sorry. And the USA goes and takes more of the Adriatic. So now it's looking like this. But now we need to take a look down here. Brazil's becoming a very big part in this play. They're probably the second strongest nation in the world currently. So they're just going to keep expanding their claims. Venezuela is going to buy a little piece of land right here from Brazil, but that's really all they do. Back down up on Argentina, they're continuing their claim, and they've actually taken all of Madagascar, and they're deciding to focus up on this coast over here. And they know India's up here. They know India is a very good area to have. So they're going to go ahead and they're going to make a landing up here on the Somalian coast. Make a colony there. And then again, they're going to go up over here. Down to the tip of India. As well as Sri Lanka. So now Argentina is becoming a very big player. But they don't want to... Australia doesn't want them to take it all. So they're going to start heading up the coast. And they reach into Bangladesh and into the Indian subcontinent. They eventually reach a deal where Australia gets that little piece. Meanwhile, the rest of it, it's mostly taken over by Argentina. And Papua New Guinea's here too. They take over like Vietnam and Laos and Cambodia and that area. As well as the southern Chinese area and Taiwan. So this is our colonial map so far. And we might see some wars out of this. But the first war actually happened is between Brazil and the USA. Because the USA is mad and they're like stealing all their land and all that. So they go ahead and march some troops into Iberia, into Naples and Sardinia, as well as into Greece. And they really just take over this area without any doubt. Iberia is a little bit more solid. Eventually they make a landing in Africa, but it is stopped when they get to their main area. And then Brazil starts pushing back. And they recapture Crete, and then they recapture Turkey and Thrace. And then they capture Naples. But there will be these areas that the USA can still hold on to. Because of the USA. So they decide, to make a peace deal, and they say, hey, we'll give you some of the lands you're wanting, as well as Istanbul, if you leave us alone. And they're like, fine. So in the peace deal, they get all of Naples and Sardinia, a little piece of Iberia, as well. Over here, they really just don't get much. They probably get this, just like a little piece like this. But then they go ahead and expand their colonies, so that little piece isn't that little anymore. And they also get the little pieces of Istanbul. So this is a kind of humiliating defeat for the second strongest, but there's a pretty big gap between second and first. But now we're going to continue up on Mexico, who's expanding down the Nile. And they have taken over most of Turkey, and they've gone into Crimea as well. But eventually, the Crimean area there wasn't really anybody living there. It just kind of falls apart. They weren't getting any supplies, so they couldn't really do anything about that. Well, they could have, but they can't anymore. So they decide they don't want to go that way anymore. And now they're just going to head down the coast of the Red Sea. Meanwhile, over here, Brazil is trying to pick up some more traction after that pretty bad, humiliating loss. And they gained some land. And that's really going to do it for most of today's episode. If you do end up wanting to see more of this, maybe get some new powers into play, like for instance, like what I'm going to do right now as an example, is we're going to have New Zealand joining. And they're just going to take some land up here in Somalia, and then they expand into the Middle East a little bit. And then kind of stop right about here. And that is what New Zealand's going to do. So, if you have anybody else you want to see get involved with this, put your answer in the comments, or pick whoever you want. If you want to see, and if you want to see a second episode of this, I just want to say, once again, thank you for all your support. Show your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.